Hello, everyone. I am so happy to be back at the Missions Conference. This is our second year of Scarlet Hope meeting with you, and I'm just so excited to share what the Lord has done since I last met you. My name is Liz Pino, and I am the Executive Director of Scarlet Hope Miami. And our mission at Scarlet Hope is to share the hope and love of Jesus with women in the adult entertainment industry. And under that umbrella term, we serve dancers at strip clubs, we serve prostitutes, we serve women who work in brothels, anyone and everyone in that sex industry realm. So through our mission to serve these women, we are meeting women exactly where they are, quite literally, going into strip clubs every single Thursday and bringing a tray of desserts or a tray of gifts and attaching that with the gospel. And we are having incredible conversations. We are feeling the Holy Spirit in the most unexpected place. And that was actually one of the reasons why I joined this ministry. I had this conversation with the founder, Rochelle Starr, who's an incredible person. And she told me, Liz, I have felt the presence of the Lord the strongest while being at a strip club. And I was like, this lady's crazy. But my second thought was, this is exactly what Jesus would do. He would go and meet those who were outcasted in society. He would meet with the thieves. He would meet with the tax collectors. He would meet with the prostitutes, and he would bring hope to them. And he invited them into a new life, but he met them where they were first. So we are meeting these women exactly where they are and loving them exactly for who they are. So, I want to share with you a couple of statistics as to why this ministry is so significant and so important, especially here in South Florida, which is home to most of us here. So globally, there are an estimated to be 4.8 million victims of sexual exploitation across the globe each year. 70% of female trafficking victims are trafficked through through the commercial sex industry, and that includes strip clubs. So when people ask us, why do you go to strip clubs? This is why. So Florida alone, Florida is the third highest ranking state for human trafficking cases. And in South Florida alone, there are over 450 strip clubs, illegal massage parlors, and escort services. If you drive down by Miami, we do prayer drives all the time. Every 5 minutes, you're going to encounter a strip club. You see the billboards everywhere. The sex industry is almost culture to South Florida. And this industry makes for a multi-billion-dollar industry because unlike drugs where it's a single use, a human being can be sold over and over and over again. And it's very prevalent here in our home, in our backyard. So in strip clubs alone, 70% of sex trafficking victims are trafficked through the strip clubs. And one of the questions that I constantly get asked is, well, why don't these women just leave? Like, they have a choice. Not every single woman in a strip club is trafficked. True. But statistically, 89% of women say they want to leave, but they feel trapped because they have no other source of survival. And I can attest, doing outreach now for a little over a year, every single Thursday, 100% of the women that we meet tell us that this is not the life that they want, that they're here because they're single mothers supporting their babies, or they've just had a really tough life that has led them to this. But none of them want to be there. So with that in mind, I want to just share what the Lord has been doing in our outreach program because most of you have been praying for us, and I appreciate those prayers because, yes, missions do need prayer and lots of it. And every single week we've been, like I said, coming in with desserts or gifts. It was incredible to see Cross Community Church come together and donate those amazing Christmas blankets. That picture of the men praying over the blankets is still one of my favorite pictures ever. So thank you so much for giving and continually giving and praying towards Scarlet Hope. Last year, I remember mentioning that one of our biggest goals was to have a resource center where we can host women for Bible studies, for free counseling, for free case management, for recreational services like art therapy, exercise classes, I don't know. I am so happy to share that this year the Lord has given us the keys to a resource center, and we are currently renovating it right now. This is our most exciting project yet. We are working very hard, just sanding down some walls, where the next step is painting the rooms, and everything down to the color of the walls that we're choosing in the room is trauma informed, because we realize that the women we are serving are severely traumatized women. So when they come into this space, we want them to feel safe and we want them to feel loved. So every single aspect of the room has been very intentional. So a little bit about the strip clubs. They call us the church ladies. They know very well who we are. They know that we are ladies who serve the Lord, and we are serving strippers weekly. So one of the most impactful things that we hear in conversations is just the shock factor of, wait, you guys are Christians and you guys are church ladies and you don't despise us? Just last week, one of the girls said, we had brought them, what did we bring them? So I have one of our outreach volunteers here with me. We brought them cookies, homemade cookies that one of the youth and one of our church partners made. And it just meant the world to them. Like, this was homemade with love. And she said, you know, I appreciate this so much because nobody remembers us. Nobody thinks of us. And the Lord just gives us an opportunity every single time to just introduce the gospel to them and introduce Jesus, and to let them know that they're made in his image and they're worth more than all the gold and silver in the world. And those are words that they've never heard in their life. So to be able to meet with them and share with these women that their worth is not based on how much they make in the night, is based on who they are in Jesus, that is just incredible to be able to be the hands and feet of the Lord to do that here. So I am just so excited to give those few updates. And I want to, before we turn our attention to the screens, you're going to be hearing a testimonial by a woman named Crystal who went through the Scarlet Hope program. And we have 7 sites. I forgot to mention Miami is one of our newest sites, but Scarlet Hope has been around for about 15 years. And this testimonial is from a woman in our Louisville, Kentucky site who went through the program. And by the grace of the Lord, she's serving Jesus, and she's actually serving as a volunteer with Scarlet Hope. But I want to share the importance of just remembering these women who feel forgotten and often are, because they don't have family, they don't have anyone. I always love to share that. I have the blessing of having an incredible family that if I were to lose everything today, if I were to lose my job, if I were to lose the source of income that I have, I know that I can turn to my family and they can be like, hey, you can stay with us till you figure it out. These women don't have that. So when they hit rock bottom, they have no one else to turn to. They don't have a healthy community. They don't have a church family. They don't have parents who love them. They don't have a husband who can help support, the child that they've brought into this world. So they feel very alone. And with Scarlet Hope, we're not only bringing awareness to the problem, but we're also equipping these women that if they are wanting to leave the sex industry, then we're ready to equip them with the free counseling that they need to heal, with the Bible studies just to equip them on how to lead a life with Christ, with just a church community. We're in this for the long haul. I tell them, hey, I'm here forever. You have a friend in me for life. It's not, hey, you did it, Ashley. You left the sex industry, now go figure it out, because most likely they will end up back in the industry. But we're walking with them step by step, making sure that they feel loved and supported every step of the way, and providing whatever service they may need to live a life that's sustainable outside of the sex industry. So I want to share one story of a woman, and we're going to call her Jill today. But Jill, I met Jill at in one of these clubs that we visited. We're serving, by the way, we are serving 5 clubs actively by the grace of God. So we met Jill in one of these clubs, and the Lord gave us the opportunity to sit next to her. And she just started sharing about her life, like normal conversations. What's your favorite song? And she told us that her favorite song was a song called Fearless. And I was like, well, why is it your favorite song called Fearless? And then she's like, because it just, it helped to remind myself to just be brave. And I was like, great. So long story short, I had given her one of our Scarlet Hope church lady cards. And I also gave her my personal number just in case that felt uncomfortable to her. So she ended up reaching out to me a week after we met. And she was in crises. Her partner was a heavy abuser of drugs, and she was in a very dangerous situation. And her partner had kicked her out of their apartment, and she had been sitting outside in the streets in front of the steps of a church for hours in the morning. And she called, and I was like, all right, stay right where you're at. I picked her up. We met at a Chick-fil-A, and she shared her life story with me as to how she ended up in the industry. Both of her parents were severely abusive to her. She was abused by the church. She had been trafficked at 17 by a couple that she trusted. And it had just been a series of unfortunate events where she never received genuine love. So she ended up in the sex industry where her own partner was trafficking her through the sex industry. And then that's where we met. So we had been sitting in this Chick-fil-A for like 4 hours. She had never shared her life with anybody. She said, I've never shared this with anybody. And we were able to talk for hours, and I introduced the gospel to her, and by the grace of God, she accepted Christ that day. And we were able to just help her get to safety through the resources that we were able to provide. But I thank the Lord for those opportunities that he gives us just to serve people exactly where they are. So I don't think we're really gonna have time for the video, and that's okay. But Sophia and I are gonna be in the back. If you have any questions about how you can get involved through prayer, through participating in our outreach program, or through providing, whether as a monthly donor or through gifts. So I thank you so much for your prayers, Cross Community Church, and I'm just so excited that the Lord allows us to do this kind of work. Thank you so much.